And welcome to Race Talk Live. Bill Grid and Bobby Potts here with you live. Maddie's Grill and Chill, of course, 1944 North 9th Street, the new home for Race Talk Live. Thanks for everybody coming out tonight. It's a warm night out there again, but she's got the air conditioner going in here.
It feels good in here,
feels good, don't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby's already got dinner ordered. Oh, yeah, there. 1944. 1844. 1844. Gosh darn it. 1844. Okay, so we'll do this.
It's a block before 19.
I know where I'm at. I drove right here. I set up everything. We're here. What is it? 1844. Let me see that. 1844 North 9th. Okay, Bob Potts, Bill Grid here with you live. Maddie's Grill and Chill, 1844 North 9th.
There we go.
The new home for Race Talk Live. Dean, Rinky tonight, Mean Dean is helping us with the videos, and Jared's running the studio back in the back, so I got them all working hard tonight. So here we go. You put together a good show. We got some results from around the area. You got to your left, you got John Feldkamp from Feldkamp Furniture. To his left, I think I'm doing it right, Dusty Leonard, and then Daniel Smith. And we got lots to talk about. We were talking about it at break before we even started. Cars sideways at Thunder Hill Speedway and like about a zillion miles an hour down the backstretch where you don't want to be sideways and you don't want the steering wheel not in your hand. We got fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty sight for a while.
Scared me. So you want to get right into some results from Thunder Hill Speedway first? You want me to do this one? All right. Hobby Stocks looks like this. There we go. Mallory Stifler in 5th. Chris Lear shows up again. He runs 4th. Kobe Rigsby in 3rd. Tyler Heinrichs in 2nd. Nicholas Ronnebaum. I tell you, those Ronnebaum brothers, when they show up, they're just there.
They were going to finish 1st and 2nd.
They were.
But Dalton had engine trouble or
issues. And it's odd that they have issues.
Some fluid fell out of the car.
Yeah, that doesn't make it good.
I don't know if it was oil or water, but it wasn't good. He didn't finish.
It oiled down the track. Stock cars went like this. Matt Haid was 5th. Larry Bowden Jr. was 4th. Lance Dixon in 3rd. Brian Rigsby runs 2nd. Jordan Grabowski picks up the win.
I had a visit with Jordan. He's running for the national championship in both classes. And I asked him, I said, this stock car class, which is tougher, as the points go, getting down to the end. And he said, this stock car class is the most competitive class out of all of them. He said, this is the toughest. He said, yeah, they put on some good shows.
Yep, I would agree.
So,
and, he's put on some great shows. He doesn't win these. He doesn't stretch them out and win them by a lot.
No.
He's starting deep in the field.
Nope.
This one, I think he got a little bit of a lead toward the end, but not by much.
It takes a while, and it went green. Well, did it go green to checker? There might have been one caution.
One caution, just towards the end. It was green, white checker toward the end.
There was. Yep.
Sport mods, and the money there is $750 no crash lotto. $750 goes to this week, so I've been told. We'll see how that plays out. Down to 3 laps to go.
Yeah.
And
there was
I saw it happen like this because I was up in the tower. And we'll talk to these guys about it in a minute. They're a different class, but a guy was going down the front stretch, wide open, and there was a guy in front of him that wasn't wide open.
Yeah.
And they got to turn 1. And the closure rate happened.
Yeah.
And he punted him.
Yeah.
And so he ended up spinning out down in the bottom.
Yeah.
It's like race past the hood.
And he was sitting, I don't know.
What'd you see?
He was sitting off the track.
The nose was up on the racing surface. He was just across the berm. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I guess.
Here's the problem. Thunder Hill's not a 3/8 mile track.
Right.
It's 100 foot wide. We know.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah, it's 100 foot wide.
But what do you do if you leave the guy there and he gets drilled?
Yeah.
We'll talk some more about it with these guys.
But, the money,
So the money comes back.
Yeah. So it's going.
They got to within 3 laps, though.
So is it?
It was green, white checker. I was excited. I was like, yeah, we're going to do this.
So is it like $750 now?
That's what I heard.
And for those of you that don't know, if the race goes green to checker, they draw a pill,
a pill for who wins it.
And, so a random anybody can win $750. The last place guy, that'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it, though? I'd take it. Would you take it?
That'd be awesome.
All right, let's finish up with some results.
That'd be cool.
And then the one that kind of got ran away here, Kyle Oberding runs 5th. This is the modifieds. Danny Holt. Brandon Concrite comes home in third. Good show for him.
Yep.
Jordan Grabowski in second, and he just couldn't catch Stephen Bowers Jr.
Nope.
What is it? That car, when it gets out front, it is gone.
It's hard to catch. Stephen got out there. There was even a
There was a yellow.
there.
Bunched them all back, and I thought maybe that Jordan would have his chance.
Jordan slid him in one, but
Couldn't keep it.
Stephen drove back under him and drove off. So he knew it was coming.
Yeah, and once you show, we'll talk to these guys about that too. Once you show a guy that hand, he knows it's coming.
Yeah, and it was a pretty awesome win for Stephen also, because that was his first night. They had brought their new dog, their baby daughter, home from the hospital, and that was her first race that she got to come to, and he picked up the win. So that was pretty awesome for Stephen.
That young lady is going to grow up around racetracks across the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So then the late models made it, and a good showing in late models, guys. You had quite a good set of cars there, and Jimmy Seagraves runs 5th, Chris Kratzer runs 4th, Adam Schrag runs 3rd, Delbert runs 2nd, and Dusty Leonard picks up the win, and we'll get into that race, talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah. And then we had the NASCAR stuff. The trucks were at Eldora last Thursday on the dirt, which was an awesome race. And this is something else I want to talk to you guys too about. Todd Gilliland in 5th, Mike Marlar, late model guy. That was pretty awesome. In 4th, Grant Enfinger, Sheldon Creed, and Stuart Friesen, which is coming out of the Dirt Modified Series. So he kind of had a little edge on the guys, but he picked up the win there in the trucks. That was pretty awesome. In the Xfinity Series, Tyler Reddick in 5th, Ryan Blaney, Justin Algar, Christopher Bale, and Austin Cindric picked up the win in the Xfinity Series. And at Watkins Glen in Monster Energy was in 5th place, Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin. Martin Truex tried quite a few times, but couldn't get by Chase Elliott. They had a caution with, 7 or 8 to go, but Chase kind of took off, and Martin didn't have nothing for him. He said he could drive up to him, but
couldn't get around him.
Didn't have no place to pass.
Well, that's the way it is. Catching him's one thing, passing him's another.
That's exactly right. And then being on a road course makes it a little tougher yet.
There's left-hand turns now.
There was some drama going on too. Kyle Busch and Bubba Wallace. Thank you, Dusty. Yeah, they were like trading some serious paint.
Really?
Kyle and Bubba got into each other, and Bubba didn't like it, and they beat and banged down the straightaway, and when they got to the corner,
kept doing it?
Kyle didn't make it.
Kyle didn't make it.
Bubba turned him.
Did he?
Yeah, so I'm sure they had a meeting in the NASCAR trailer after all that was said and done. Don't know if there's going to be any fines laid down. That usually happens Tuesdays, don't it?
Usually happens today.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but
and I haven't heard anything either.
But I'm sure there's going to be something said about it, because it was on purpose. I mean, he did it on purpose. Yeah.
So what do you do when you do something like that on purpose?
I guess pay your fine and go on.
Figure it's worth 10 grand.
Yeah. It could. I don't. Yeah, evidently. Yeah. Evidently. But they were talking. They didn't see anything prior to that. Why Bubba
would be upset?
Yeah. But they came out of the corner and they hit doors, and one ran the other one clear down to one curb, and the other one ran the other one clear up to the other curb, and they beat and banged. And then when they got to the corner, Bubba said, I'm turning and you're in my way, and I'm gonna move you. And he did. So,
well, guys don't like that when you run them out of racing room.
No, but
do you?
Evidently, yeah. Bubba just had enough.
Bubba Wallace. I think he's gonna be great.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. So, we're not ready for a break yet, are we?
No, we're not.
We got some rain last Friday. Was it Thursday night? Salina ended up canceling.
Some rain? It poured.
Some rain. You got a lot of rain. Yeah. But Thunder Hill got some rain too, and Concrite's, got things dried out, and
I've got your mics turned on, guys, too, so you can jump up in here anytime you want to.
They, I'm sure it took an awful lot of work over there because that place, their pit area is terrible.
When Thunderhill,
As far as when it rains.
when Thunderhill cancels, they cancel because you cannot get into the facility.
Right.
It's not the racetrack. We can
mean-
get the track ready to go.
Yeah.
It's the pits.
It's a pit area. Yeah.
and
Pam,
they can't.
whenever they get a shower like that, Pam gets on Facebook and says, "Please don't come to the racetrack early."
Yeah, don't get here before 5 o'clock. We're trying to get the
You can't get
because they're
in.
working it.
Yeah.
You know, and they're
Yeah.
working the track, and the track had a little character, but it's had that character all year long.
Sure.
You guys felt that bump in 3. Go ahead, pick up the line. Turn it on.
Turn it on.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pretty sure that bump at 3's always been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always is.
You felt it, didn't you?
I annihilated
That-
that poor bump.
That one's yours. That one's his. I don't care. Pick one up. Introduce the guests while we're here, since we're done with results. You might as well let everybody
Okay. Well, yeah, of course. We have John Feldkamp, owner of Feldkamp Furniture, also the great sponsor of quite a few cars in the area. Helps out at the tracks a lot. John, thanks for coming. Got Dusty Leonard, driver of the 7D late model, and Dan Smith, driver of the 92. Is it S?
It's an S.
S, yeah.
There's an S hidden in there.
Got some late model things going on tonight.
Raced up at Thunderhill this weekend. What'd you think? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was enjoyable. I mean, I'm getting better, I think.
Well, hey, I mean, we'll talk about this some more during the program too. But you picked up, you picked up the win at the Nationals this year. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I finally got that one done.
That's a
marked that
big
box.
deal. You know, that used to be a prestigious thing, and to get that
What
win,
do you
that's
mean
a
used
big
to be?
deal.
It still is.
Is it okay?
Anytime you got a 63rd annual anything,
It's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
there's some
I
names
didn't
on
mean
that list.
I didn't want to take anything away
I
from
mean,
you. That's right.
I guarantee you, everybody in that field was racing hard. It doesn't matter what it pays.
As a kid, I used to go to that, and it was a 4-day event.
Yes.
You know, and it was big.
Yes.
It's not as big as it used to be. The prestige is still there. To win that thing means a lot. Your name is on that plaque, and it ain't never going off.
Right.
And they, you know, there's so many rumors around that whether we're going to have that thing anymore or not. It's a distraction, and I feel that's bad for us.
Well, they
Yeah.
did kind of come out last year when we were there to say that we're going to be there for several more seasons
Good.
at least.
Good.
So we didn't really hear that this is the last one this year when we
Yeah.
were there. Now, I know there was a lot of talk about that a couple years ago. But, yeah, getting a win over there, anytime I can do anything that my dad's done and Lonnie's done, and I know being over there as a crew guy how much it means
That's pretty cool.
for everybody involved. And you're out there on the blacktop and you're sweating. It doesn't matter if you're working on the car or not. You are pounds of sweat are coming off your body. So anytime you can get out of there and get a win or even a top 5, it feels great.
You know, they kind of changed up they changed up the schedule a little bit. You guys ran 2 heat races. Is that the first time you've done that over there?
No, we've ran that format, the last 3 years?
Okay.
3 years,
Well,
and then they add up your passing
Shows
points.
how long it's been since I've gotten to go. So sorry.
Yeah, you're missing
But
out.
yeah, I did.
And, you know, and that's the other part of that. Other tracks used to cancel for that to be the show that it is, and they don't do that anymore. So it takes guys like us out of the equation sometimes when we've got something else to be somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that hurts racing overall. You know, you started taking away from many of the bigger shows that have been there for 63 years. You know,
Yeah.
the guys that maybe haven't got to see it or go participate in it, you know, you start taking away from that. But for us racers that are showing up at it, you're not taking anything away from it. I think from the drop of the green and hot laps, everybody's in go mode that whole weekend. And that's probably the intensity level that Dan was talking about. It's just there. And if the history of racing means anything, that adds on top of it really quick.
You know, I think the biggest thing it was when they added lights to the place, and you guys were able to race at night. Because boy, racing in the daytime in the middle of 1st of August, end of July, it was hot back then.
I remember the first night they brought lights in, and they were the mobile lights.
Yep.
And that race, Dad actually won on
Oh,
the
yeah?
last lap pass, and it was crazy. I mean, it was just one of those deals. Though the track changes so much from the first daytime heat to the second round that's a nighttime heat.
I see.
You may not change the car, but you have to change your approach on what you're doing.
Okay.
And the way the track's been racing the last 3 years has been completely different than what it used to be. Used to be you drive in and you stay on the tires and you're married to that line.
Yep.
Oh, no, we're up flirting with the wall, sparking, diamond in the racetrack, whatever you got to do to stay out front. I know at the start of the feature, I was headed to the cushion. And by mid-race, I was hugging the tires on exit because that's where we were laying some rubber.
Really?
And trying to make a soft tire last 25 laps. I don't know how yours looked, but I know mine wasn't very good by the end of that. But it's all part of it.
Do you guys have just one tire that you run now?
We have an optional hard right rear that actually hard tire we can run on all 4 corners, but usually just use it as a right rear. But most of us rarely use it because the races are short enough. You don't need it.
I see. So you ran soft tires over there?
I put a hard tire on the right rear. I started far enough back. I had to go right from the get-go. It just latched up too quick for me to get where I was headed. So I was trying to challenge him. I ended up a couple spots short. But
right, and that's the advantage of starting up front because I can choose to run a soft tire and try and set a pace to make that tire last.
Sure.
I couldn't go hard from the drop of the green flag. I have to conserve or that thing's not going to make it. So it's all part of it. Now, if they have a yellow with 3 to go, I'm probably 7th.
7th, yep.
Yeah, I mean, because the tire wasn't there.
You know, that brings up a good point. We got to take a break right now, but when we come back, we're going to talk to you about tire management throughout a race. How about that? So,
more from Race Talk Live after this time out. There, got it. And welcome back to Race Talk Live. Bill Grant and Bobby Potts here with you. A little technical difficulty here, but we're going to get it figured out one way or another. We'll see what's up. And I'll do it that way and see if that helps any. So,
okay.
Welcome back. We're at Maddie's Grill and Chill, North Salina. Come on down, join us.
What's the address? 1844.
1844 North 9th. Yep.
Got that for you.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Thank you.
Don't go to 1944.
Yeah,
You'd
be the wrong address.
You'd be a block off. So anyway, before the break, we was talking to the guys. We had Matt Stam and C. Ray Hall on from 81 Speedway, and Matt asked me a question about if, you know, working on the race cars and stuff, if I like going into a race where we have to manage tires, or would you rather have them shorten the race because of tire problems? What would you guys rather do?
I personally don't have a problem with tire management. It's something you grow to do and learn to do. Yep. But that's one of the challenges of racing. If you watch them Silver Dollar Nationals, you know, Bobby Pierce ran on the cushion all night long, went up and looked at his tire after the race, expected it to be gone, and his tire was half tread still.
Really?
And, you know, still looked great. He was still going forward and pulling away from him. Looked at a couple other cars. They had used their stuff up by running a different line. And guys that are notoriously really good at tire management, they use their stuff up, and he didn't. And he probably ran a more treacherous line, too. I think it's a great challenge for it.
So, the Hutch Nationals, was it a tire management deal? I mean, did you have to?
Yeah, I mean,
did you have to take
I had
it
to
easy
manage the tire, and then after a certain extent, you're watching your signal guy, and you know you can't manage anymore. You got to go.
Got to go.
And you just got to roll the dice. Is it going to hold air? Is it going to stay?
So how close to the end did that come? Do you know?
Right when I started to catch lap traffic, I knew I had to pick the pace up because they started to gain ground again.
I see.
It was no longer a comfortable ride. I had to get by.
Uh-huh.
And so those 3 or 4 laps, you're not short lifting. You're not worried about sliding the right rear. You're wherever open track is, you're going to it. There were still times early that I had probably slid the right rear a little more than I wanted to. But you have to hold the lead, too. You have to be able to set that pace. And if you're not out front, you can't set the pace anymore.
Right.
But, yeah, I like anytime where it's in the driver's hands and we can control it. We've done it before at Enid. We've done it at Hayes before, you know, where you're going to run on rubber. And sometimes it never rubbers. Sometimes it rubbers in an odd place, and it's who finds it. So I'd hate to shorten an event as long as it's safe. I feel like let the drivers handle it.
While we're talking about tires, of course, Dan's a tire dealer, and Dusty ends up having to buy tires. He probably gets them cheaper than you do. Do you guys feel that you're on the right tire for that class? I mean, would you like to see something different?
I personally would like to see us go to a 55 tire out in this area. Maybe try to get that extra feature out of them. every now and then, but sometimes I think that the softer tire has allowed for a little bit better racing.
Better racing, sure.
Probably for the newer guys coming into it, it's allowed a bigger sweet spot for the cars. Probably helps out that way.
I see. Okay.
And then,
Dan?
I mean, I'm selling tires, but I see both sides of it because we have similar classes in Nebraska that runs a harder tire all the way around.
Okay.
I feel like you put hard tires on the front of the car, you get into where people try to soften the tire illegally to try and get the cars to handle because they don't handle that well with hard tires on the front. I wouldn't mind seeing a hard right rear. I'd be fine with that. But we also need to know anytime you put a new tire on, it's going to be better.
No, sure.
And the same guys putting new soft tires on are going to put new hard tires on, and they're always going to be faster.
That,
Yeah.
yep.
I don't care what tires they run, just so they show up at the track. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, John don't care. He just wants cars there.
You're darn right. All I want to see is a car there.
Yeah.
Daniel, I want to congratulate you on the Hutchinson.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Dusty, I want to congratulate you on Saturday night.
Thank
I
you,
tell
John.
you what, guys, we have got the best late model drivers around in this area. From Daniel's dad, Delbert, to Daniel, to Dusty. I mean, you really have to really get out there and see these guys. And if you haven't watched them, go to a track around here and you get your money's worth. If you get the chance to see them, it is worth every penny to see them.
Well, you know, John, you're also a big part of that too, because you're always putting up extra money towards the purse, and I mean, visiting with, you know, getting drivers to come, you know, you're a big part of that. So we got to thank you for that, because you're kind of behind the scenes guy.
And I don't want. John, you're like the promoter from the old days. You're the guy that would get on the phone and call somebody up and say, "Hey, come race with us." You know, I know I don't want to cause problems. I don't think social media is always the answer to get people to come to the racetrack. It's a great tool, but sometimes I think a phone call goes a long ways. I mean, if he called you up and said, "Come, let's run up in Lexington," you'd probably go.
I've been to Lex, and
Yeah.
I've been up there a few times, and sometimes it doesn't financially make sense, but sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And that's all part of it. You don't get anybody. I mean, we had a guy that's supposed to come from Iowa this weekend to race with us.
Yeah,
That would have been awesome. He got, unfortunately, tore up the night before.
it happens.
But how often can you see, in this case it was Gary Webb, how often do people in the Mayetta area get to see Gary Webb?
They don't.
They don't know who Gary
that's
Webb
right.
is, but we know who Gary Webb is.
Uh-huh.
And
He
he's
actually,
he's on par with where my dad is as far as late models history is concerned.
Actually,
A lot of wins.
Yeah.
NASCAR
Does.
champion.
He
Yeah.
does.
I talked to him for 45 minutes, and that guy is. I mean, Delbert is on par with being where he's going to be.
Sure.
And he is actually going to help me try to get Delbert into the Hall of Fame.
That'll be cool.
And I am so grateful to him to try to help me get Delbert in the Hall of Fame. Because this guy is there, he's in it, he knows how to do it, it's political. But you know what? I've been in this since 1972. I've worked with these guys from Lakeside to Topeka Fairgrounds. You know, these guys are great. You know, and Bill's right. Just pick up the phone. A lot of social media is good and it's
It's
bad.
good.
I'm not a guy, I'm not a complainer. When I see
Yeah.
this stuff, complaints, I turn it off.
Yep.
You're not going to be
I don't
on
want
my
the negative
program.
stuff no more.
Me
I don't
neither,
need
Bill. We don't need it. Our tracks don't need it.
it. No.
We got too many good guys out here. We don't need this stuff, Bill.
Yeah.
So, you know, these guys put too much money in their vehicles, you know, so let's get out and support them in the good way.
Yeah.
Really.
Let's talk a little bit about Saturday night. Of course, we'll get the win from Dusty here in a few minutes. You had some excitement on the backstretch.
Unfortunately.
Let's talk about Mayetta. It's 0.4 of a mile. It's, you know, to me, and you can correct me, it's a mini Belleville. You carry a lot of speed there, but not as much.
Right.
Not as much, but it's fast.
Yes, and it's in crate racing in general right now. We try to turn any track into a lot of on throttle time and momentum because we just don't accelerate that fast. But
Wait a
Mayetta,
second, you lifted?
I have to. There's cars in front of me.
Okay. I thought I would
It's
ask.
not because I want to. There was laps that I didn't, but I wasn't out front. So, you know, clean air is king. When you get out front, of course, you didn't start up front, so you pass some cars to get there. But once you get out front, you can drive however you want. When you're 6th or 7th, you got to kind of react to what's around you. Pick a line that's going to get air on the nose so the car will turn when you get to the corner. make sure your car didn't hit the track. Mine was, unfortunately, so sometimes you have to lift for that.
I did have to lift once. Was I bottomed out the cross? Remember getting
Yeah.
into one
And
I
that's
about
not
ended
fun.
up in the
Yeah.
parking lot.
You don't really know where the car is going to land when it does that. You just got to react to it.
So
But-
you're coming down the backstretch, and I don't know what you're carrying for speed there, but you were a good
Enough.
two-thirds. You were 2/3 of the way down, almost to entry, I think. Maybe back up a little bit, but the next thing I know, you're sideways and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think it was about the concession stand area on the back straightaway,
Yeah.
about that far down, and I'm sliding sideways in both directions.
Yeah.
And,
Hey,
and
Bill, I think he
thinking,
wanted a sandwich.
yeah, I was getting a little hungry, but
You wanted
I
one of
would
those
rather
barbecue
wait.
beef
Yeah, I
sandwiches?
don't really eat much on race day, so I was
Yeah.
getting a little hungry. But yeah, I was thinking I'm going to need a new car.
Yeah.
I was thinking there's no way you're going to spin out running 4th or 5th and not get hit by somebody.
Yeah.
And I did get hit, but not really that hard.
As bad as that was, it turned out really
Oh,
good.
it did, because I think everybody continued on.
I think maybe 1 or 2 fell out.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know. I mean, we had a red flag, so they had to do something back there. I didn't
Well,
get to see
that's
it.
because the track was kind of blocked. You
Yeah.
guys were like everywhere.
I know, but I mean, just this talks about competitors. Ross McCartney was one of the cars that collided with me. Not his fault.
Sure.
He was the first to come up to my window when we got to the corner to let me know the right side was okay. And he had me pull forward so he could pull up and let me know the left side was okay. So I didn't have to come in and see the pit
Pull
crew.
down the pit road. Sure.
So it allowed me to restart better than if I had pulled in.
Sure.
I still had to restart at the back. I think there was only one car behind me, but one car makes a difference.
yeah.
Hey, Bill, I think a lot of fans out there ask a lot. I think we can ask each one of these guys, is different tracks, you go so fast. And a lot of guys are asking, like Daniel and Dusty here, how fast they think they're gone per mile an hour on these tracks, say like Thunder Hill. How fast do you think you're going?
Do you have any of that data? I mean, I know we've done some GPS data before
Just
at, say,
kinda
Salina.
approximate, 'cause fans are always asking
I
that.
would get ballpark is probably 110 to 115.
Yeah, easy. I know
Right
at Salina
there.
we've had GPS data on the car before in testing, and it was approaching 95 on entry at
Really?
Salina. So
At
I'd have to
Salina?
say Mayetta, you're a lot faster than that. Belleville, you're pretty much average speed as fast as you can go. I
Yeah.
mean, you just don't slow down there. There's nights at Wichita where it's really fast, and there's nights at Wichita where it's slowed down like Salina. I mean, it just depends.
You know, and I'm done, guys. I mean, I'm way retired, and I struggled so much with the last part of the late model thing. For me, Salina was always kind of a stop-and-go track. I could never get off the fact of getting off the brakes to get through the corner, and it killed me. It just killed me. I don't know why, because in the early days I had horsepower, and then you go to a crate, and you need to be wide open in the corner. But anyhow, Salina's a little narrower. You know, you got to turn the car around the corner and then go down the backstretch. Thunder Hill, the corners are pretty wide and sweeping, so it's tremendous more speed.
It's painfully obvious that Salina's never been one of my favorite tracks. I've done okay there, but it doesn't really fit my driving style. It is stop and go, but even being stop and go, we're not with the crate stuff. You can't stop.
can't
I mean,
stop.
you just got to whatever momentum you can carry. You got to be free enough to turn, have enough forward in it to get out of the corner, and it's made for a lot of good racing there. I would much rather go to a Thunder Hill style track where you can move around the racetrack, cut the corners off, whatever you need to do to move around. I think we raced every inch of that place over Saturday night. And, I mean, it wasn't just me. It was everybody. I mean, we were all over the place, passing each other and moving around. And that's fun.
When did you know you had it won?
I was pretty confident when I rolled into one on the pace lap after I straightened my steering wheel up. And
On the pace lap?
Yeah, not to be confident, overconfident there, but I was like, this is going to be really good. I just rolled down into one and the car rolled up and I'm like, oh, I like that. I got a hot rod here I can work with. And after that, it's up to the driver not to screw that up.
It's time for another break, guys. When we come back, we'll talk some more about you thinking you had that thing won on the pace lap. You know, they tell you can't win it on the first one. So more from Race Talk Live after this timeout. And more. We're back here at Maddie's Grill and Chill. Let me see that so I get the address.
1844.
1844 North 9th. Bobby's going to choke me.
I don't know
Just
why
want to
you
make
can't
sure.
remember that.
You'd think I would. Yeah. Come on down, join us for dinner. The food's really good. I know Bobby's going to have something good. So
Smothered chicken night
smothered
tonight.
chicken night. You think?
Yep.
It's pretty good. I've had
Baked
it before.
potato and
Yeah.
broccoli. Yep.
That'll work with my diet. I think I'll try that too. Anyhow,
Pretty
come on
good
down,
stuff.
grab your favorite adult beverage. The food's good, and we'd love to see you tonight. So, still talking racing. You know, guys, I guess what? Going to take some gloves off for a minute because I want to ask you both a question. Nothing implied. Don't think. Traction control. Does it belong in race cars?
Nope.
No. It's what our right foot's for, or our left foot if you want to drag the brake.
Yep. I completely agree. I think that it takes the edge out of driving a race car. You know, there's things that make Scott Bloomquist great in a race car. Steve Kinzer in sprint cars, Sammy Swindell, the things that they can do with a race car that's kept them competitive for years. I think not having those things, they're so smooth that it looks like they have it. But I think that's the racer's edge. It's a head edge that they have above everybody else.
And look, let's just be honest. It's nothing implied. People talk about it all the time. You hear it. Oh, he's got traction control, whatever. I think a good driver can drive a car with his feet. That's what he's for.
Right, and I feel the same way. I mean, anytime somebody wins some of the competition, they're quick to say that person's cheating.
Sure.
And sure, there's nights where somebody looks like they're cheating because they just hit it.
Yeah.
And we've
Everybody
talked
gets-
about it. This
everybody
year's
gets
been a prime
lumpy.
example. There's nights where Dusty hit it, and it's like, wow, looked like he had a 430 in. The next night, he's 7th. Kratzer wins. Looks like he had a 430 in. The next night, he's 7th. It's just we're dealing with a game right now where one adjustment, a minute adjustment, can make a huge difference.
Yeah, you're that close on
Pulling
your
one
setups.
packer out of the right front bump stop can take
Click on a shock.
Right.
can take a car that was really happy and then all of a sudden it's hitting the racetrack and there's nothing you can do about it.
And what do you do once you're in that car and it's hitting the racetrack? What do
You
you
just
Bounce.
you have to
Bounce.
yeah, you bounce. You ride. You try to change your line, change your pickup point.
Try
on
to
your
enter a
throttle,
little different so it
something
doesn't
to
beat it.
not load that corner as hard, or sometimes you just can't do anything but survive. Tonight's the night I run 7th. You know, just say,
And you're like, okay, here we go.
Don't wreck it.
Yeah, keep it together.
Right.
You know, and here's the thing, guys. Salina canceled. Business decision. 7 cars. I understand it. How do we get more people involved? Or do we want it? I mean, what do you guys want?
I
You're the
think-
racers.
I want more cars.
I want more cars as well.
How do you
Have
go out
we-
and get them?
Have we priced ourselves out of the game?
I don't believe so.
I think a little bit, and the reason I say a little bit, the mentality there is that we've all spent all this money getting newer, better equipment, and that as we've all raced enough that we're replacing things that are wore out. Well, sometimes you have to replace a roll cage in time. That's what happens. You're washing them all the time.
Right.
They're flexing. You know, sometimes they get bent. That's
they're
part
welded
of it.
together. Things move. It's a race car, and we're racing on dirt. So as much as you don't want to run over a tire or run over your competitor, sometimes that happens. And the more you fix these cars, maybe the less desirable they are. Are we still dealing with the series, guys, where you can get an old late model that's maybe an 03 and bring it out and be competitive? Or is the technology not there anymore? for
Probably
those?
not an 03 without heavy modifications, but you got to look at what year we're in too.
I guess we are 19.
Dusty's car is probably 3 seasons old.
Yeah, it's 3 seasons old.
My car's 3 seasons old.
When do you replace them? Next year?
Yeah, I'll probably replace one. I'll keep one that we have, most likely long term, but I
really
usually
think,
replace them when they start cracking.
Bill, I think this is a two-way street. I think the racers have a big
Hold that up,
expense.
John.
I think the racers have a big expense. The track owner has a big expense, and I don't think these guys can go backwards with their race cars at all to stay competitive if they want to race other places. So if they want to go to Wichita, Mayetta, wherever to race, Oklahoma, they still have to stay competitive.
Right.
I think we need a track here in Salina. There's no doubt in my mind. Some of that might be the area here. We're going to have to sit down and maybe get with people here that own the track and work something with them. You know,
Is that
the
turned
track-
on? John, check see if you're on. There you go.
The track here, we really need it. You know, we have too many local drivers here, Bill.
Yeah.
Way too many local drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys need something closer, really. I mean, Bobby, you know it yourself. And not only for the late models, but for the rest of the guys that are racing in the modifieds, the whole 9 yards.
I mean, I think, Daniel, at one time you considered Salina your home track.
Yeah, and we still try to get out here. I know Dad was supposed to run a modified last weekend and it rained out. It's just financially 6 cars showing up. It's not doing the track any good.
No.
It's not doing us any good. It
No.
doesn't count for our Naismith points. So, I mean, we're just here trying to put on a show. Sometimes I think guys get burnt out if they're not winning or running well. And we see that when we're on the road in the NCRA deal. We're trying to help guys that are not running as well so they don't quit.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, I'm not giving them exactly what I'm running, but I'm looking at what they've got and saying, well, this is what you need to change to get closer to where we're all at.
And, you know,
And I think Daniel's right. And I really do. You're seeing it in the modifieds also. It's not only the late models, but you're seeing it in the modifieds. The same thing.
and I'm guilty of this. I mean, I'll tell you straight up, I put your dad in my race car. And he told me, you know, it was a little darty here and there, and we found a few things, we did this. But that doesn't work for me because I can't drive like he does.
Right. You can't run the setup that I've got or Dusty's
No.
got. You've got to figure out what works for you, but we might be able to say, look, we know that's not going to
Yeah,
work.
what you got ain't going to fly, son, so let's try
Right.
this. But
I mean,
anyhow.
we
so you
do
guys
see
still-
some
yeah.
of that. And like you said, an 03 car is probably outdated, but if you have an 03 car that's been updated, say you put a cross member in it because you got to get more ground clearance for today's setups, and you've done some stuff in the back as far as just pick up points on shock locations, yeah, you can get there. I mean, the structure of the car hasn't changed that dramatically much. For example, Chase Younghands has a really nice master built that they have updated.
Sure.
And I think he's going to get it out here in a couple weeks as a crate car. If he can find a race where he's not running the Outlaw Tour,
Sure.
I guarantee it's just as fast as the cars we've got.
Yep.
I don't disagree. I've got a 13 sitting in the shop that I just keep toiling with bringing it out. But when you get in kind of a rhythm with a race car, Daniel knows that you just don't want to jump out of that thing. for a
Right.
little
Well,
while.
obviously you like what you have right now.
Once I learned what I needed to do driving it, the confidence came, and that makes a big difference.
Well, if you knew from the drop of the pace lap that you were going to win this thing, you're confident in what you got.
Well, I probably wasn't, not necessarily that I was going to win it, but I was going to have a really good shot at it. And just how the car rolled up, it felt good.
Where'd you roll off? Where'd you start?
I have second row outside.
That's not a terrible spot, but
No.
it's not front row either.
No, but I mean, I feel like I probably could have started a little further back, depending on how you work traffic. Daniel talked about it earlier. You get hung up in traffic just a little bit, that alters your night. And I mean, it just worked out that I ran a modified earlier. The race before that, kind of got into a rhythm that really helps. And then you just jump out and start going. And that I went up a little bit higher than everybody else right away, and just cut down the first lap. And I'm like, yep, this is good.
But I think too, Bobby, it costs a lot of money to own a racetrack and run a racetrack.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
It
people have
does.
no idea what it does cost to run and operate a racetrack.
You know,
It's not cheap, Bill.
and we can get back to the social media part of this too. I think it hurts our sport sometimes more than it helps. I mean, I use social media. I've been accused of doing something stupid on social media myself. I try to stay positive because, these guys work hard. All of these tracks work hard to put on a show.
Very hard.
It doesn't always go the way we want it. You know what I mean? We don't. I don't go to the races to see stuff tore up. I don't, because it costs somebody a boatload of money.
Yeah,
You know?
it does. We've talked about it on the way over. Social media has probably hurt racing more than anything else.
Well, and then you get
You
somebody
can-
that's not even at the racetrack, that's dogging what the racetrack did or made a call, and it's like, dude, I'll give you a ticket. I'm serious. I will give you a ticket. Come watch and be in the stands and watch it firsthand, then see.
You always hear 10 more negative things than you hear per positive.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's been that way right from the get-go. Facebook's a great marketing tool used properly, but for, again, one every good post is 10 more negative.
Yeah.
Or, people don't even, as far as when a situation happens, everybody's going to have differing opinions. The only two people that really probably know are the two people that were directly involved
Right
with
there.
it in a lot
Yeah.
of cases.
I can joke with Dan Smith about running over a tire in the infield, okay? And he kind of knows that we're joking about it. But if we joke about that, then somebody gets on there and gets all negative that maybe I shouldn't have said that. But Dan knows that it's not personal.
I know. Anybody that's Facebook friends with me know I put assault tires on there all the time. 'Cause I'm notorious for hitting them, and most of the time Sam's frustrated because we just put a new front bumper on, and the first night out I hit a tire or something. And it's just like, Dad said you need to get your eyes checked again or something, and I probably do. But,
That could be me.
yeah, right.
Don't feel bad. I hit
but-
one the
but
first
on
night
the-
at Wichita.
Right.
and I
On the
got
flip
lectured.
side of that, I think we've seen it with Tony Stewart here in the last week or two. Some people feel like they can get away with anything because the keyboard is in front of them and nobody gets to see them. And then all of a sudden they get in the real world and figure out they can't act that way.
Tony's going to punch you.
Right.
I mean, and he should have. I'm on his side. He should have punched
Well, I
that
mean,
dude before.
I don't know if he should have punched him, but he definitely should have had a heart-to-heart right up in his face and let him know, hey, I'm a man. I'm standing right here. You can't talk to me like that.
Yeah, we
You know,
don't.
and we don't. But I mean, as far as going all the way to violence, I don't know that you need to. Sometimes you have to,
I'm pretty
but
quick on the trigger.
but
Gets me in trouble.
it
We've all
shows
had
a
those.
negative light too,
It does.
and we got to be adults. We're not WWE. It's
Well,
not fake.
I don't
but-
think that guy had the
Yeah.
right to get in his face and talk to him like that.
No,
and I
he
think
doesn't.
that comes from the keyboard.
Right, I think it does, and I think we've seen that. Even Lakeside had their first race, and it was packed.
Yeah.
Did
it
you see
was.
the people? That was
And
amazing.
that's amazing. And one of the posts was off of turn 4 and this beautiful slick racetrack with this narrow cushion and moisture right on the inside tires, the way Lakeside always is.
Yeah.
And somebody trolled on there. They should have saved some of that flood water.
Oh, jeez.
You know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
guys probably never even seen a race there.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you it was probably an excellent show because I've been there when the track's like that, and it usually is.
Yep. Yep.
Daniel's exactly right. It really is. That's why, Bill, I support these guys.
Yeah.
And I support the racetrack. So I tell you what, it's a two-way street. And if you ain't never been there, then zip it up.
Yep.
Well, I
You're
encourage
right.
everybody to come out to the local racetrack. I'm telling you, I don't think there's anything any better. We're about to. We're into the last segment, so we're
That's
gonna
what
take
you was trying to say.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Just took you a while to spit it out.
Yeah,
And
you
they're
know.
waving the white flag.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
Bill, can I say one thing?
well, sure.
I want to thank Tammy Wiegert for singing the national anthem.
Didn't she do a good job?
She did an excellent job, and she's one of the best.
Gave me goosebumps.
Yep.
She was right behind me in the tire. So, listen, we got some news to get out about races around the area coming up, and we're going to come into the last segment here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned here. We're going to continue with Daniel Smith and Dusty Leonard and John Feldkamp here. More from Race Talk Live after this timeout. Well, welcome back. Final segment. We still got to get with Dusty on his win over Thunder Hill. We talked about it, but we've only got to the first lap where he knew he had it won there. We'll get back to that in a minute. But during break, I find out that Daniel takes a cruiser car up to Belleville and races with his dad. How
Yeah.
much fun would that be?
Yep. Yep.
Tell us about that. Was that cool?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Our friend Tyler Fry, who's been down with a medical
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
We're waiting for Tyler to get better.
Yeah, he was going to have Dad run his modified, and then when it rained out, he has that cruiser that Stacy Sape put together,
Right.
our friend that passed away.
Right.
And that car's always been fast up there, and we always put different people in it. It's always fun. It's probably the most fun you have at a racetrack because you're not trying to race. I mean, you're still trying to win. It doesn't matter if it doesn't
Sure.
pay anything. We're trying to
Sure.
win, but
Sure.
you're not racing for points. There's no pressure. You're just out there having fun. Now, sitting next to your dad, and the
Yeah.
argument was, which one do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't care. Whatever he doesn't want to do, I'll do. And I'm like, well, I'll just do the throttle side, And so Dad got to drive. And
So
just-
you're in the right-hand seat.
I'm in the right-hand seat, and we're using hand signals and yelling and whatever we got to do to try and get the gas down when you need it. And the car has no rear brakes, so it won't turn. And we're getting hit from all sides. And I think we take the lead in the heat race, and I stayed in the throttle thinking, hey, we got clear track, and drove right off the end. And so, yeah, we went off the front straightaway. We fall back to third, and then we get back, and we ended up winning the heat race, and we started on the pole of the feature, and then it was downhill from there. We ended up third. I think we were 3 wide in lap traffic a couple times. The door got smashed in and far enough that I couldn't even push the gas down. So
Oh, jeez.
we might do it again sometime. But
Did he
yeah,
yell
that
at
was
you?
A lot of fun. Not really. I mean,
So you were able to holler at each other back and forth
yeah.
inside
I mean,
the car.
I'm pretty sure he hadn't said anything that he hadn't said to me before in the other car. I wasn't blushing at all. I knew when I messed up. But he let me know. And,
And did your sister-in-law and her brother?
oh yeah,
drive it
yeah.
couple, 3
A
weeks
couple
ago?
weeks ago, Sherry and Curtis drove it,
Yep.
and I think they finished
We were there
third
that-
or fourth, I
yep,
believe.
we were there that night.
They got knocked off the racetrack that night too. It's just
Yep.
kind of a common occurrence up there, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Now that's not your typical cruiser either.
Yeah, those are a little more bumping and banging cruisers.
Well, and they are not shy in the horsepower.
No,
run
they
pretty good.
got stuff.
That car that we drove had NCRA modified tires on it. It's not your typical cruiser. It probably has more horsepower than my late model.
Dusty, you want to try one of those?
I would jump in anything with wheels and enough horsepower to push it.
Really?
Guy
Oh, yeah.
5 days a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would jump in and do it in a heartbeat. Stuff like that's always been fun.
Did you before you got into the late model? What'd you do? What would you get started in?
I started out in 1974 Chevelle Hobby Stock.
Really?
Yeah, a big
Okay.
old boat. And
Where'd you
it-
race that up?
Up
North?
in Beatrice.
Beatrice?
Yeah,
Okay.
we ran in Beatrice, and we went to State Fair Park up in Lincoln a couple times is all, and then we jumped into the limited modified before they actually had the sport mod deal, and ran pretty good there. And then about 06 jumped in the A mod deal and ran that until they started spending a buttload of money on horsepower trying to
Yeah.
make those things turn, and we jumped ship on that and got into a sport mod and then tried to figure out what we were going to do next. And before we got in the late model, we were about ready to get out of racing altogether.
Really?
Yeah. And then now here we are. I think we dove headfirst into the pool. And I am not sure if there was water in it yet or not.
you were driving a Masters built, and I think that car still sits in your shop. What year is that?
It's a 13.
13.
I ran it up until the middle of 2017.
If you needed it, you could get it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all I got to do is stick a transmission in it.
And you're in an XR1 Rocket now,
Yep.
if you don't mind.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yep, it's a XR1.
What do you want to do next?
I'd like to put an open motor in it and go race.
Really?
Yeah. I'd love to go run the Show Me Silver Dollar Nationals and go race against those guys. We don't really get that opportunity out here. I just think it'd be fun to make the shows kind of your number one goal. Get the 100 laps of experience. Any time that you spend in a race car is better than no time in a race car.
Both of you, I want your input on this real quick, and then we'll kind of finish up here. There's guys, running late model stuff. You can show up at a racetrack, and you can see. Could be anybody. It could be Kyle Burke. I mean, just and you could think, I'm beat already. But if you go out there, and you're only as good as the guys you race against. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a mental thing.
It is a mental thing, and you've got to be as confident as he said he was on the first lap.
Yeah,
Because if you don't believe in yourself, who is?
that's right.
So you've got to say, I can overcome. I can start 11th and win tonight.
Sure,
That's what good stories are about, right?
that's right.
But yeah, I'm like him. I want to go race against the best. I don't care where it's at. I
Yeah.
don't care what class it's in. I
Let's
want to
go.
race against the best and see where I stand up.
Yep.
I mean, I got enough confidence to feel like I can beat anybody. Any given night, I don't care who it is.
Yeah, and if you don't, getting in a race car is probably not the best thing for you. You got to believe in what you're about ready to go do.
Sure.
It's kind of a ballsy sport if you want to get politically incorrect about it.
Right. I mean, anytime we strap in could be the last time. So you better be dedicated enough to go out there and put it all on the line.
Sure.
Dan, your dad's been racing a long time. How many more years does he got in him?
He says he's retiring every year, so I
Yeah.
don't really chalk it up to that. But he's talked about running a reduced schedule. I think it just depends on how he feels. And it's been tough since he's driving truck.
Right.
He gets back, and his hours are odd. And Friday nights were really tough on him because he would get up at 2 a.m. and drive back from North Dakota and then race, and we'd be out there until 2 a.m.
To that night?
So
Wow.
it was just really tough.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
try to rest for the next night if we had another show. So Salina canceling really hasn't been that hard on us from that aspect. It gives us a little more time. I think I want him to run as long as he's competitive.
Sure.
And he shows time and again he is one of the cars out there that you have to deal with.
He's still
Oh,
up
he
on the
showed it
wheel.
last Saturday night. He was there.
Yeah.
Bill,
Yep.
Saturday night, I was talking with him and the Oklahoma drivers. He said, I might be here 10 years.
Yeah. I mean,
I go, the guy might. You never know.
I'm not
Never
putting
know.
it past him. He's adapted to every technology change that's come down the pike. He's found a new way to drive. He may not drive like me or Dusty, but he finds a way to be fast. So, I think he had the car to beat at Hutch. We just got lucky he got tore up.
Yeah.
What I heard he got. What happened there? I didn't.
On a restart, somebody got into his quarter panel and caused a flat.
I see.
And then he come back up through there without brakes and still run top 10. That's
No
pretty
brakes
good.
at Hutch. That's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, he said he didn't need them. I don't know.
Bill, Dusty, I'll tell you, his dad was a great driver. And he drove, Bruce
No, Bryce.
Rice.
Yeah, Dad Dad's been the unofficial PR guy since what, 56?
Before we forget, take us through that race Saturday night. So you knew you were confident. You knew you had it won. What did it feel like?
Honestly, I don't remember a lot of it. I was just kind of really in tune to what the car was doing, what it was telling me, and I just knew early, don't rush yourself. You got a fast car, just you got to have to be there at the end. 25's a lot of laps over at Thunder Hill. A lot can happen. Burn that tire off, and I've done that before over there. Just got in a hurry.
Yeah, you've ruined a tire there.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah. So it was just, make sure I was up on the cushion, and when I got the car to cut, just cut good. Got it to rotate down at the bottom of 3 and 4. And that is just hitting my marks and just concentrating on that, even with the cautions. And that I worried about that just a little bit, just because I was like, if tire seals over a little bit or, somebody gets a run on you, you just can't panic. And even when I did screw up with probably about 5 or 6 to go, I bottomed out the cross member, drove in way too straight.
Which turn?
Down turn 1.
Okay, I didn't see that. I saw 3.
And then I went down to 3 and 4 and had the worst corner I had, and I think in 2 years of driving late models.
I think you had all 4 tires off the ground.
Oh, yeah, I did, and I'm just like, you've done this thousands of times. Make it laps. All you got to do is get back in a rhythm. Just breathe. And then I was fine right after that. But you have to sometimes talk to yourself about it and get through it. Don't panic. Just go.
Hey, Bill, I want to thank you and Bobby for coming over to Thunder Hill this year.
Sure.
Being part of our program.
Sure.
We enjoy it.
It's really meant a lot to us. It really has, and all the drivers, the fans. And I want to put one more plug in, Bill.
Go ahead.
And that's this Saturday night for $5.
$5.
Get in.
That's
right.
the cheapest ticket around, folks.
Yeah,
$5
that's right.
at Thunder Hill Speedway. You're going to see a
told
good
me
race.
$5. I told my wife, I'm getting older. Am I hearing right? Write that down, and so I can get it right this time. I might get it wrong, but it's $5, Bill.
$5.
This year's been tough on me. It just is. But I've been there. I've done everything I could do, and Bobby stepped in a couple of times. I enjoy those. Mike and Pam Conrad are good people. I love racing, guys. I do. This is my capacity now as an announcer, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Bill,
It's
you're
been
always in our prayers. I'm telling you, you're a great friend.
I appreciate that, and
Bobby.
you too. And working with Bobby has been a blessing over there. I rode with him this weekend and stuff, but he hates it when I'm not there because then he knows he's got to go behind the mic. We'll have to see what's up. But
That's okay.
Yeah.
You guys are 2 peas in a pod.
I wouldn't know about that. Any final thoughts, guys, before we turn you loose for the night? I really appreciate you guys driving down here. I know it's a long drive. What you got? Sponsors?
I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, everybody that helps out, crew members. The hours that we put in up and down the road, working on the cars in the shop. You guys for putting on the radio show, the tracks for having us. Can't thank you guys enough because we need to support racing at all levels and support the businesses that support us. And if we don't do that, we're gonna have a dying sport real quick. So other than that, I got nothing.
Yeah, I want to echo what he said. And of course, my sponsors, but on top of that, family. I mean, we're a family-run team. He's got a family-run team. We go there and we spend a lot of money to make a lot of noise. But it brings our family together.
Sure.
And we may not always get along, but we're family. But outside of that, I mean, the nights that we're not racing like this weekend, we're going to go down to Wichita and see some family that we don't normally get to see. But in the end, I think every one of us would rather be at the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Our racetrack family is amazing.
It is.
You know what I mean? It is. And I found that out this year, just how amazing you guys really are, because I consider you all family, every one of you. Even in the capacity I'm in now, you guys are family. So
It's
pretty cool.
Leaps and bounds, really. All you need is somebody to have just a little bit of trouble, and everybody just jumps in to do whatever they can to help.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty amazing.
it is very amazing, humbling.
Yes, it is. Very, extremely. I never imagined. Listen, a couple of things, and I'll let you do some thoughts here too, Bob. Got a big show coming up the 23rd in Concordia. 1,000. Let me do it right here. 1,000 to win Mod Light, 600 to win Sport Mods. That was from Tim Gassman. He said, thanks a lot. Flat Track Motorcycles in Osborne. I think those guys are absolutely nuts. But this Friday and Saturday at
They'll
Stockton,
be
the 11th
flying
and
there.
12th. That's
Wow.
a half-mile track. Are they nuts? And then, let's see, they raced Sunday. Alex Lovelace won the Mod Light. Sean Heim won Compact. Mini Stocks was Taylor Huss. Taylor Huss won the Hobby Stocks, and Ryan Perdue won Sport Mods. That's up at Concordia. That's Tim Gassman sending me those messages. I know he's
Tim.
listening. Thanks, Tim. I hope we got that promoted for you well enough. Bobby, what else you got?
Just that, of course, line is off this weekend. Friday night, got the Demolition Derby and stuff, got the fair going on, so there's a lot of stuff going on here in town. Saturday night, like John said, Thunder Hill, $5 to get in.
$5.
Can't beat that.
And the following
So-
week, I'm going to have a whole bunch of tickets for Thunder Hill Speedway to give away. So,
Okay, cool.
do the $5 thing, and then anybody that wants to go the next week, I got tickets for you. I can't give them to you this week because of the dollar value, but I got
Sure.
a bunch of tickets for the following week, and we're going to give them away. How's that sound, Robert?
I know the season's winding down, so yeah, you need to get out.
Yep.
So, yep.
All right. Guys,
about all I
again,
got.
thanks a lot, guys. Dusty, congratulations on your win.